Friday, day one of the NFL draft is in the books, and we've got 3 Game 6s in the NBA playoffs. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
I'm good. Good right now. All right, let's get into it.
Well this morning.
I have, by the way, Max Molly, I have my jacket today. I didn't forget it like yesterday.
Oh, you look very
handsome.
handsome.
I feel back to normal.
Okay, good.
I feel back to normal.
Excellent.
All right, let's get it, guys. So we know the laundry list of Browns quarterbacks that have not panned out in that revolving door in Cleveland, but the Browns went all in on the somewhat controversial Heisman Trophy winner Baker Mayfield. High risk, high reward. On that note, we bring in our draft insider, Todd McShay. Late night for you, early morning. Thanks for the time, my friend. Joining us from Dallas here. Hi, Todd.
Good morning. You must be a happy Giants fan, huh?
I'm so happy. I'm not going to lie. Todd, did the Browns, though, need to take Mayfield at number 1, or do you think they could have waited and still got him?
I don't think they could have waited and got him. If that's the guy they wanted, and clearly it was the guy they wanted, they had to take him at number 1 because I went through all the scenarios last night. Even if Sam Darnold goes 2, which he didn't, but if they chose Barkley at 1, let's put it that way, then Sam Darnold would go 2, and then at 3, Mayfield would likely have gone to the New York Jets, and he would have been gone. So in order to get their quarterback, the guy they think is going to be the first quarterback to break this 19-year streak of basically incompetence at the quarterback position, they had to do what they did is basically take him at number 1. Now, this is a tough one for me because I have Baker Mayfield with a first-round grade, and I would not bet against him. But of the 4 quarterbacks, he and Josh Allen were the 2 that I'm not sure I would stake my career on. And so when you have Sam Darnold out there, I think that was the way to go, in my opinion. But again, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. John Dorsey and his very capable staff chose Baker Mayfield, and now only time will tell. It's not just the player you draft, it's how you develop them too. And so they've gotten a better supporting cast. They've got a good, qualified general manager. They've got an offensive coordinator in Todd Haley who is competent. And they've got a quarterback coach in Ken Zampese, who's known for doing a good job with quarterbacks. So we're always going to link John Dorsey in this pick of Baker Mayfield because a lot of us thought it could wind up being Sam Darnold and Bradley Chubb. And on paper, that would have been a more intriguing combination, in my opinion.
Todd, it seems that one of the things that was cool about this draft was the teams didn't seem so risk-averse. They thought, that's the guy, I'm going to take him, to hell with where people think we should take them. But in Baker Mayfield's case, it seems to me, whatever information was out there, if the Giants passed on Sam Darnold with their pick in favor of Saquon Barkley, that means they weren't in love with Sam Darnold. Because I don't care how much you love a running back or your current 37-year-old quarterback. If you think that quarterback's the guy, you're taking him. They clearly weren't all in on Sam Darnold, which leads me to believe he would have been there for the Jets at 3, meaning the Browns could have taken Mayfield at 4 and had Chubb or Barkley or whoever they thought was the best talent in the draft, had them both. Wouldn't it have made sense to win?
Yeah, but I hear you, but if they take Barkley at 1, all of our information was that they were going to take Darnold at 2. It wasn't a Sam Darnold thing as much as it was we're all in on Saquon Barkley. And it was the general manager, Dave Gettleman, also ownership. You have to consider that as well. I mean, we've very good sources around here, and the owner very much was in on Saquon Barkley and wanted Barkley to be the face of this organization, wants to get back to the big blue, running the football, being a powerful team. It's going to be dominant in the trenches, and when you get late in the year and the weather gets bad, we're going to run the football and we're going to stuff it down your throat and play great defense. And also we're bringing a guy who, not that this matters a whole lot, but was from New York, who's known as probably the best character guy in the entire draft, a leader, impeccable off the field, unbelievable work ethic. He's going to set the tone for this organization moving forward. We know Eli's not going to be here forever. We need a new face of the organization, and we're going to go with Barkley there. So I understand your theory, and it makes sense on paper, but knowing their thought process, Barkley was the guy for a long time.
I think they could have waited. And the reason why I think they could have waited is because, look, we're talking about a Browns team under Hugh Jackson, who I like a lot, but he's 1-31 as a head coach with the Browns over the last 2 years, 0-16 last year. They buffered their offensive line by getting Tread and Zeitler adding them to their offensive line before the 2017 season, but there's still a huge void at the left tackle spot because the great Joe Thomas retired after 11 seasons. So when you're bringing in a quarterback, all right, this guy has to be your safest pick because you've messed up so flagrantly over the last 2 decades. You passed on Donovan McNabb. You passed on Drew Brees. You passed on Aaron Rodgers. You passed on Big Ben Roethlisberger. You passed on Carson Wentz. You passed on Deshaun Watson. Everywhere you turn, the Cleveland Browns have been absolutely, totally inept in embarrassing proportions. So if you have that reality, it's staring you in your face. It's got to be money. It can't be big risk, big reward with the #1 overall pick for this particular franchise. It's got to be a sure thing. And Sam Darnold appeared to be the closest thing to a sure thing. So my attitude is if you weren't going to go the route of Sam Darnold, what you could have done is gone the route of Saquon Barkley, because chances are somebody might have, whether it's the Jets at the 3 spot, obviously, because or the Giants at the #2 spot, you're talking about Darnold and Mayfield potentially being unavailable at that particular moment in time. But I actually think that Mayfield could have ended up being there for you if you have grabbed Saquon Barkley first. Because I think somebody would have grabbed, I think the Jets would have drafted Sam Darnold, or the Giants would have drafted Sam Darnold. But that's just me. I mean, I just look at Baker Mayfield as being big risk, big reward. He's a big-time player, but it's just such a risk that worries me only because it's the Browns.
I said the same thing, and I completely agree with the concept that if you've gone 19 years without a quarterback and you need to nail this, take the guy that has no injuries, no off-the-field concerns. He's the youngest of the quarterbacks, but you got to look back at the history and what he's gone through. He isn't one of these quarterback camp guys who's been developed and basically worked on in a lab. He was a 3-sport athlete in high school. Played linebacker his freshman and sophomore year, moved to quarterback his junior year, got injured, really only had 1 full year as a starter at quarterback. And all of a sudden, 3 years later, after redshirting and then winning the job as a freshman and going 9-0 down the stretch, he finishes 20-4 as a starter. You see in games against Texas, 4th and 6, huge play taking the ball and running. Against Utah late when they needed him, a huge play on 3rd and 13 from his old goal line. The Penn State game, coming back in the Rose Bowl, what he did orchestrated in the second half of that game. To me, when you're looking for a quarterback, you need the durability factor is huge. Then you need a guy that you can trust, and he has that. Then you need a guy who's going to show up in clutch situations. And finally, you need a guy that can create outside of the initial play. And whether that's moving slightly in the pocket, extending it, moving outside the pocket, he does that at a very high level. I think Sam Darnold should have been the first pick. I think Bradley Chubb should have been the 4th pick. But clearly, they viewed it differently. And I've told for weeks now, up to 6 weeks maybe, that Baker Mayfield has been their choice. And so now we're going to see how it goes moving forward. There's nothing we can do now. They made the decision. They've got to live with it. I think Baker Mayfield can be a good quarterback at the next level. I gave him a 1st-round grade. I like him. I just don't like him as much as I like Sam Darnold.
All right, guys.
Todd, that
go
was
ahead,
another
Max.
thing that's kind of flown under it just flown under the radar. The 4th pick itself. Like there's one, how you grade all the quarterbacks. If they think Baker Mayfield's their guy, they don't want to take any chances, take Baker Mayfield. The Giants did the same thing with Saquon. I thought it was an interesting draft because of that. People weren't putting too much stock in position. They were taking the guy they wanted, identifying him, taking him. But then Denzel Ward with the 4th pick, that to me was the odd thing about all of it, because Bradley Chubb was sitting there.
Yeah, no, you make a good point, and I think everyone was looking for what they were looking for, and that's what made it interesting to see how everything unfolded. I mean, San Francisco, we thought all along, maybe it'd Minka Fitzpatrick, could be Denzel Ward if he's there. They took an offensive tackle in Mike McGlinchey and said, you know what, we're all in Jimmy Garoppolo. We're going to go take a guy who's going to protect. And almost every single pick you could see, even down to Seattle, saying, you know what, we like Rashad Penny. And we think he's going to be out of San Diego State. We think he's going to be a great back. We don't care what everyone says. We don't care about Darius Geis or Sony Michel or Nick Chubb. I know that they're more high-profile guys from bigger schools that had better careers in terms of the national stage, but we think Penny's going to be a better back. We're going to take him in the 1st round. Pittsburgh takes a player I had ranked 84 overall. Terrell Edmonds, the brother of Tremaine Edmonds, who went earlier in the first round, and they think he's a good fit. 41-inch vertical, 4.47, big, strong safety, fits what they want to do. The heck with what everyone else thinks and where he's projected to go. We're going to take him because we like him. So it was an interesting draft to see in that regard.
Guys, let's keep it moving here. So 4 quarterbacks taken in the top 10 for the first time in the common draft era. Josh Rosen, though, meanwhile, does not lack confidence and is certainly not afraid to express himself, even on a national stage. Josh, tell us how you really feel about falling to number 10 to the Arizona Cardinals.
I was pretty pissed off I fell. 1, 2, and 3 went by, and just kind of went into a blur after that. I was really angry. Teams were passing on me. And I was honestly expecting to get picked at some point and have to fake a smile and go up and pretend to be happy. But for some reason, when I got picked, all of that went away, and it just went to straight excitement and relief. There were 9 mistakes made ahead of me, and I will make sure over the next decade or so that they will know that they made a mistake.
There were 9 mistakes ahead of him. I don't know if that was wise to say, Stephen A. Do you think Rosen will regret saying this?
Well, yes, I do, because I think he's an idiot. And I'm going to say that now on national television to this guy who's supposed to be so intelligent, his IQ is supposed to be off the charts. Enough of this already. Forget the fact that he should shut up because he hasn't done anything yet. Forget the fact that he should shut up because you played at UCLA, and last time I checked, I haven't seen them in the national championship picture. Here's the biggest reason why I'm calling him an idiot. Because, and let me take that back. I'm not calling him an idiot like literally. Of course he's a smart young man. His intellect is off the charts. I'm calling him an idiot because I'm calling him idiotic, rather, because you are walking into the National Football League going up against men. In college, in the last 12 months, Max, Todd, this guy has suffered 2 concussions. Let me ask you a question, Josh Rosen. When somebody knocks you upside your head or caves your chest into the point where you're gasping for air because a grown man puts you down, what does that have to do with anything? What are you going to do then? I would respect him if he were a boxer, Max, and he was stepping into the ring, or he was an MMA fighter, or he was stepping into the octagon, and you had that kind of bravado. It's man up. You against the other man, may the best man win. I respect that. But Josh Rosen could fling that football. He could be pro-ready. His durability has been an absolute question mark. He's got concussion issues coming into the NBA. He looks like he needs to be in the weight room just as much as me. And then on top of it all, you're going into the NFL with grown men whose livelihoods are on the line. And oh, by the way, they have a license to assault you. So even if you're flinging passes, you could still get knocked upside your head after you release the ball. You could still see dizzy spells. You still might not know where the hell you are. And you're chirping already. It is stupid. And he needs to be quiet because it's not just about his ability, it's about his durability. And while we won't sit here and insult him by questioning his ability, we will sit there and say 2 concussions coming into the draft, you already have durability issues. And when you get into the NFL, somebody's going to knock you upside your head. It's just a dumb thing to do when you play the quarterback position and you're out there being fresh meat. It's stupid.
Stephen A., I saw you without your jacket on yesterday. You don't need the weight room, man. You look pretty good. Listen, Josh Rosen to me, Josh Rosen was, I liked it more when he was just kind of annoyed fielding interviews after, and then prior to the clips we just heard during the press conference. It feels a little bit like false bravado. But I've learned over the years, it really doesn't matter what you say. I mean, these guys are emotional. You put them through the ringer the last several months. They're hearing about every negative thing there is out there about him. We're talking about him being a rich kid, having all sorts of social issues, not being a good teammate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think